So today we're doing this series this week where we're kind of giving you a high overview and a snapshot into what we're going to dive deep into the masterclass next week. So on Monday we talked about choosing the importance of choosing the right area. That should be your first step, depending on the strategy you're doing. On Tuesday it's wholesaling. On Wednesday we talked how I built a rental portfolio of $10,000 plus in passive income in about 18 months. Today, we're going to talk about fix and flip and private money, actually raising money for fix and flip or rentals in a creative way. And like everything I do, I share my personal experience. So how I stumbled into fix and flip was actually doing OPM with OPR. Okay, what is that? So back at the beginning of the 90s, I shared with you my story. I was in wholesaling, I was buying rentals. Next thing I did, it was, and I'm talking about my experience as a new investor, okay? Because obviously nowadays it's easier. I have a reputation, I have a lot of connections. So money for me now is easy for anything I want to do. But I want to share with you how I did it as a new investor, when I was starting out. Okay, so that's why I talk about, 30 years ago. So anyway, so what I did is, and this is a strategy that works really well today. I still use it. This is today, which is OPM with OPR. So basically what you do, over people money with over people resources, you create a partnership. And this actually, I know a lot of you are worried with, especially fix and flip, dealing with contractors, paying people, not performing the job, or, running away with the money. So this actually prevents that too. So OPM with OPR, basically what I did is I got this property using hard money. So I bought the property using hard money, and then I had to create, I had to fix the property using my own money. They didn't give me the money like a lot of time they do now for the construction. Okay, so I had the money for the property, and then as far as rehab, I did have to come up with my own money. So what I did is use OPR. What is that? So basically, talk with construction. I talked with a construction person that he was willing to do the work, and they get paid most of it at the end. So the quote was like, I don't remember, $10,000. Let's say just labor only. And then I say, okay, if you can give me 3-4 months, I'll give you 12,000 instead of 10 for your labor. Now he wanted a couple $1,000 up front to have some spending money, which is fine. I did that. And then as far as the material, I opened a contractor's account at Home Depot, and the first bill didn't come for like 2 months. So that gave me basically 100% financing. I OPM with OPR, and then I think I did 1 or 2 payments on the minimum payments on the credit card after I got the bill and sold the property and paid everybody off and still made a profit. So that's how I started actually doing fix and flips. Now, the other thing you can use is, hard money, where they actually escrow the money for the rehab, right? So they'll give you the money to purchase the property and escrow. Now, I know a lot of you are wondering, okay, what about the down payment? I don't have the down payment, but there are a lot of different opportunities out there. If you open a business entity, you can also get a business line of credit, and it might not be a big $10,000-$20,000, but it might be enough to get you going for the down payment. And they're not going to question what you're going to use that money for. The other thing you can do is also work with other people, like, money partnerships. So you come up with the property, they come up with the money, and you split the profit 50-50. Now, I know what your question is. It's like, okay, yeah, but these are going to cost a lot of money for me to use other people, for me to partner with other people or get these high interest rates and so forth. But the way I look at it is this, that is money you would never see unless you're willing to do that, right? If you're not willing to pay 10-12% for a hard money loan, if you're not willing to partner with somebody to put up the money and you have to split the profits, don't do it that way, then you don't do it at all. And then you're never going to see any money anyway. So that's the cost of you to get into the business and get your foot in the door so that you can attract bigger things. Why not? Okay. So the thing is that you have to be careful with fix and flip is really the management of the project management, and the money, how to get the money. So that's why I like OPM with OPR, because it really kind of protects you, from having these contractors, because they have a vested interest in getting paid, obviously. And you should never pay anybody anyway, even when you have money in escrow from hard money lenders. the way the hard money lenders work is that you have to do the work first, then they send an inspector out there, and as long as the work has been done, they'll release the money. That's how they protect themselves from contractors that are not doing the work and getting cashed, right? So that's the same thing that you want to do. Now, let's talk about, so we talked a little bit about the financing part of it. Now, let's talk about finding the properties, okay, or analyzing the deals. So there are ways to look at it. First of all, you have to find who's going to be your end buyer for your fix and flips. Is it going to be a landlord? So are you doing like a BRRRR method, or are you going to sell it to an owner occupant, right? Or are you going to keep it for yourself, do a BRRRR method? So that's the thing, you have to be very clear before you go into construction, because that's going to determine the level of work you're going to do on the property. When you get in a property prepped for owner occupant, you're going to do different things if you get the property prepped as a rental. So those are two things that you have to consider first. The other thing is you have to analyze the deal. If you're keeping the property, if you're doing it as a rehab and sell it out on the market to either a landlord or first-time home buyer, you need to keep at least 10% of the property, right? As far as the profit. So all these things have to have a consideration. So there are a lot of moving parts when it goes to fix and flip. And that's why it's very important that you come to the class next week, because we're going to do a couple of things. First of all, the most important thing is how you analyze the deal properly, so you know you're going to make a profit if you do a fix and flip. Because at the end of the day, fix and flip are not going to work for you. What are you going to do with these deals? You wholesale them, right? So you have to look at them under two different scenarios. Because if you make at least 10-15% of the after repair value as your profit, you should go ahead and wholesale it. So we're going to really break down how we analyze the deal so we know what is our maximum level offer. The other thing we're going to talk about is the funding. Okay, I kind of went over some ideas, but we're going to talk more how you can finance deals 100%. The bottom line is, if there is a will, there is a way. If there is a will of you buying property, like I talked yesterday about rentals, that I wanted to accumulate at least $5,000 a month in passive income, and then I doubled that, I found a way to do it. I was on pace to buy one property a month. If you want to do fix and flips and make a couple $100,000 this year, then you have to do so many properties for you in order to do that, based on your area and based on having 10 to 15% of final RV. So anything when it comes to real estate, you have to kind of, the investor that really knows what they're doing, the serious, the one is taking real estate as a business, you have to know what your results are before you start working on it. So you're kind of going to reverse engineer everything. Reverse engineer your process with wholesaling, buy and hold, and fix and flip. So you know how many deals you have to do in order to hit those targets. It's not the other way around. You don't do deals randomly and then hopefully you hit the target. It doesn't work that way. Not if you really want to build a sustainable business. Okay. So we have this amazing masterclass coming up. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about really putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Okay. I'm also going to talk about some amazing things. I call them golden nuggets that I'm going to share with you more in depth next week. And this masterclass, guys, is only cost of a cup of coffee from Starbucks for the whole week, not even every day. So if you spend $5, $6, $7 a day on coffee, this is the cost of the masterclass for the whole week. So you have nothing to lose. We have great training. Every day is an hour of in-depth training about everything we talked about this week. We're also going to have raffles. We also have great interactions. You can ask questions. It's given live by me, Liz, and a couple of our coaches that we invite as the guest speakers, okay, who have taken fix and flips and rentals to the next level. So join us next week. We're going to go into deep. We're going to explain this in much slower and more details. And I can't wait to see what your questions are going to be and to actually connect with you. See you then.